near the money on with few mu. Ube mu abe Fontaine time so UTV Ghana your so and our channel 360 e wo DSTV so ye wo e ho me fast da kese e majume kweto so best point savings and loans the best assurance e wo ma for sika sem insurance ni na kodan wo mo saso na special eyes mineral water ya bujun so papa jibina bogu esansensuma enkwa you2 iodate salt e yenchinepa me oba painting china mitimi akamfo dia ma any you2 iodate salt saso and this way chocolate drink they we here and so she and say wo ice it depend wo weather no emo frappe and painful pay obibia epe kasie and some who do edimu akotene ebi ene Ghana Bar Association sabre eye attorney general dia to omonim say wo mo enkasa said ye be ya wo mo kasa wo mo be kasa no ebe gina Ghana mamra so ne nkoye say wo mo be ye amanyosem
Sansona abantemu for penny assign there to Ghana Bar Association and him say enei omunjai kasan yimu ya dane den nyina no omde omho ehemu no
openyin oda Ghana Bar Association ya no eye ye maame efua gate na sabe odi ato man penyini His Excellency John Dramani Mahama nim say omeka wo mo ho na ewonunkum wo mo fa embo eye ye Ghana ye mamra no eho eban
Governor of that Bank of Ghana no edi atuja say memi ensuro yesidi no na hoden no gusu ejina ne nai so
Accra Circuit Court sabra ye kasei wama abronye 50,000 Ghana cedis bail
TUC yene ejuma for akacha banse ne hyehyɛ ya oye edi aboa ama oman no etumpon no onhwe no mfa omo enka ho
we ene nsem ka ye ka ho na semfo aboaboa na ye de ba besom se anwume no nsia kase yene ye ba besom ye me abena chei boache mene
Kwame Owusu Aduomi
Africa se no enchemu Attorney General and Minister for Justice Dr. Dominic Ayine ena sabre wafre womo anas a lawyer fokuo kese womo don nyina Ghana Bar Association for say womo enhyehye a guide womo anas di womo nimbo omo bra emo mutimi etu anamon anas omo gina suo omutu ne papa mu no efa Ghana ye mamra ho no wo say wo sere pa say womo nya hweye se de omo ye bia no eye mra so ne momo nyi womo ho free say se womo gina si a womo esie no womo de womo ho abata eye political party bi opanyini ekasa ewo eye enhemudi ekoso ewo wa ene odi tu dwase ye hwe eye Chief Justice ye Maame Gertrude Kotono a ye yi no every honum ya said the Ghana Bar Association womo esi ekasa fa ho no eye ade a ankyere se womo yeku a womo eda ntemu anaso womo gina ba na mmom womo nsem womo ka ye no dodo na no ekoye te se de amanyosem ene womo ye.
The relationship between law and politics in Ghana has always been intimate. Lawyers were central to the nationalist struggle, drafting petitions, leading debates, and championing the cause of independence. Since then, lawyers have been indispensable in shaping constitutional governance, whether in drafting the 1992 Constitution, defending human rights in times of crisis, or mediating in moments of national tension. Yet, our role in politics must be guided by principle, not partisanship. When lawyers descend into the arena of raw politics without restraint, we risk undermining the very foundation of our professional credibility. We must remember that our allegiance is first and foremost to the Constitution and this Republic, not to transient political interests. Over 3 decades have passed since the adoption of our Constitution. During this period, our Republic has tested and continues to test the resilience of its democratic institutions. In doing this, the Bar has played a crucial role in assisting the Supreme Court to interpret and enforce the Constitution. But outside the courtroom, the advocacy of the Bar as a professional group has lacked consistency, bringing into question its adherence to principle. The lawyer in politics must be a voice of reason, moderation, and constitutionalism. The Bar must speak out not to please governments, or opposition parties, but to defend the rule of law, the independence of the judiciary, and the rights of the ordinary citizen. The Ghana Bar Association is not merely a professional body. It is a moral compass of the legal fraternity and a key pillar in the construction of our constitutional democracy.
Wasajumadi Corona say ena Attorney General or Kase Ghana Bar Association Sabro Ekwe Omai almost almost passing Rasem. Esan sa semba no mai febi no maka we no trese enye ode emfaton ema Chief Justice Sabri yini efri akonya so ema me Gertrude Tokonu asem ena no Kase asemi ba ye omai febi ena omoka na omoye ku a nka omode ni so omoye yimu asem bia ba oso omutimi kan obi ade said be ya atentene ene pepeyo ebetimi akoso e o mafa.
When in 2015 an Article 146 petition was received by the Chief Justice in relation to the former chairperson of the Commission on Human Rights and Administrative Justice, Madam Loretta, 2017, an Article 146 petition was filed for the removal of the chairperson of the Electoral Commission, Mrs. Charlotte Osei, and her deputies from office. The bar saw no basis to speak out about compliance with due process. But in recent times, the bar found its voice when petitions based upon the same constitutionally defined procedures were brought in respect of the removal from office of the former Chief Justice, Mrs. Gertrude Araba Tokono. Ladies and gentlemen, the honest question we have to ask ourselves is, what changed? The three petitions aforementioned touch and concern office holders of three constitutional bodies critical to the sustenance of our democracy. The independence of the three institutions has been guaranteed by the Constitution. The three occupants were all women of significant repute and members of our noble profession. The three committees established pursuant to Article 146 complied with the constitutional procedure to the letter. And yet, the bar found its voice only in relation to the third petition. Coincidentally, the voice of the bar amplified the voice of the opposition.
Opinion wada Ghana Bar Association ano Mr. President Ewura Efuagate na sabe wodi ato His Excellency John Dramani Mahama Ghana man panyini enim se womra no ne association nyina emeka embom se de be obetimi apagya Ghana ye mamra no etimi akọ enimu na afei wahye emuden pa se de be ya kabima menka bia ebo omayi ho bra no etimi anya fapem papa Ewura Efuagate de nsemi atudwa wa bra Ghana Bar Association wo mo annual general conference ekoso ewo Upper West region ene ejuya ene ode sansemi eto so no ode tudwa se wo gidie ewo His Excellency John Dramani Mahama na mamuo mu ye pa na osusu se de osi wo gidie ewo ni nnwuma a wo ye no saa so ene osusu so de eba bebo association ni mu a ewo numkum mu no omo betimi aboga na emamra no eho ban a efa nipa yefa ahodie so osi ebebu human rights pa yefa ahodie na fe etimi asan apagemu abo de kind of letter no enso eho ban pa na spirit honhom a ewo ye constitution no etimi asan abo ho ban ye pa sei eno de tuja.
Over the past 10 years, the bar has had the opportunity to engage with the arms of government, starting with the presidency. The entire Bar Council paid a courtesy call on the president on Wednesday, March 26th of this year, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. On that occasion, in reference to the bar, he remarked, and I quote, "You have been a strong advocate for the rule of law, respect for human rights, the Constitution, and freedoms. I believe that the role you play is important for our society to progress." These poignant words are indicative of his recognition of the bar's unique role and, by extension, his willingness to accommodate a vibrant and united bar that speaks truth to power. We are confident and trust that under his leadership, he will join hands with us in jealously guarding the rule of law, respecting human rights, and upholding both the letter and spirit of our Constitution. As SOA JSC reminded us in the landmark case of Amakutufo versus Attorney General, constitutional interpretation requires a broad and liberal spirit, not a narrow interpretation. It is only when we adhere to such admonition that the citizenry will experience true peace and progress. In our quest to continually put Ghana on an enviable pedestal, we may from time to time hold views that differ. But let me assure all and sundry that we will not be motivated by ill will, but solely by the conviction that the foundation of every nation rests on respect for the rule of law, and where every man and woman stands equal before the law.
Panyina no ene da Central Bank no governor Dr. Ernest Addison ene wakasa ede atudwa se Ghana for memie mbohu kra na ye CD no eda so ejina na so se T4 beka na se ayofo beka be se busumi ni no amon se CD no epeja ne mu ana se ekofom na hode no ekofom ode toto currencies ahodo dollar pound euro na we na watre mu se CD no ewiase afa na nyina sika ejina ne na so pa no Ghana CD no eka ho.
Colleagues, external buffers have strengthened, and for the first 8 months of the year, Ghana recorded a trade surplus of $6.2 billion, underpinned by robust gold exports and higher cocoa receipts. Our gross international reserves stood at $10.7 billion in August, covering about 4.5 months of imports. Despite seasonal pressures and a moderation in remittance inflows in recent weeks, the cedi remains among the strongest currencies globally year to date, appreciating by about 21% as of September 12th. The cedi now ranks alongside high performers such as the Russian ruble, the Swedish krona, the Norwegian krone, the Swiss franc, the euro, and the British pound. This outperformance reflects prudent monetary policy. It also reflects effective liquidity management at the central bank. It reflects fiscal consolidation, and it also reflects increased foreign exchange inflows. Now, the banking sector remains stable and improving also, with the capital adequacy ratio that is without reliefs rising to 19.5% in July, while NPLs remain elevated at 21.7%. They dropped to 8.4% when fully provisioned losses are excluded. And this underscores ongoing resilience as recapitalization and strict underwriting continues.
Mama ye jina se miso ne ahome so ajabo fon kratwe dikan ko ba bia ba Yamama kwaba yetwa kase no eso. Bank of Ghana sabre waje atomu say neisi ye eye utility tariff a eye enyumakuo mienu eye Ghana Water ene ECG ede epese wode eba na wo se eye a eba benya ensusanso anase emuduro no eba be sei anase eba be ha nhyehyeye a wode egu akwan mu pa isanse wo se wo hye monetary policy committee na omo review no na chese benya ensusanso wo so a inflation no se de esi akono ebesan ama asei bibia opanyini kasai no kasa request no omo de abade anaso de ababeto woni omo se omo hwe nimu se entumu no wo hwe nimu se enko 200% na eno ye eye ensuo ene enyinam nkanea na eba ne saa na echese ede eniema ebo so betimi akosoro pa opanyini kasai no kasa nei se wo hwe inflation a ababedu wo hanche mu du baako ne chipo enum eno krompo no akofom krompo ache se de aban susudua wodi si wonani so senka afi beko na wieye no nanka akọ eye wo hanche mu du baako ne chipo enkono nanso se de enei eniema si ko no sesentumo ne ba ade de wo haw kese pa beba.
Ghana's recovery is gaining momentum even as the global environment remains uncertain. Worldwide growth is easing and financial conditions are still tight amid trade tensions and geopolitical risks. Yet domestically, improved fundamentals have strengthened confidence in our outlook. Real activity has firmed, and provisional data shows GDP growth accelerated to 6.3% in Q2 of this year, which was led by services and agriculture, with non-oil GDP expanding by 7.8%. Our high-frequency indicators also confirm this momentum. For example, the bank's composite index of economic activity was up 6.1% year-on-year in July, and recent PMI readings alongside our business and consumer surveys point to improving sentiments. On the price front, colleagues, headline inflation fell further to 11.5% in August, its lowest since October 2021, and this was supported by a tight monetary stance, the fiscal consolidation that has been sustained, and better food supplies, as well as core measures and expectations that also continue to re-anchor.
Ghana so far no enehwa amono nsem Yura Samuel Oku Jeto Ablakwa ene wakasa achim se Ghana Mampani His Excellency John Dramani Mahama na kwantu ho hyehye no bonibia enim Ghana for monimsem dada se mrebi Ghana Mampani His Excellency John Dramani Mahama na kwantu mu no okoka ba bia na enokra na mra na odi wo ho na wapaye ma Ghana for eka ho asem we na papa ya kire se Ghana Mampani His Excellency John Dramani Mahama on kasae sa kwantu ya sha amano no se de sitie no enye na emom obesusu se yenhwe na amampanifo ahodo anase Ghana yaman manso difo akontrol se de si etie no yenhwe ne yenhihye ne ye se de be ya omutu kwan a ensem bia emma ho.
President Mahama has not complained about commercial travels. I have seen some people say, oh, President Mahama spent 22 hours in Dubai, and they blame me for that. I saw a colleague of yours apologizing to President Mahama. That is because of me. That if President Mahama had his own way, he would have chartered a luxury jet. But because I'm foreign minister, he cannot do that. That is so unfair to President Mahama. That was just propaganda. It is not true. No president will be allowed to be stranded at an airport. Let us get serious and stop this childish propaganda. We have a consulate in Dubai. We have a full mission in UAE. I mean, you think that foreign service officials there will keep their job if it comes to my attention that the commander-in-chief, our president, was allowed to be stranded at an airport in Dubai because he couldn't charter a jet. Please, let's credit the Ghanaian people with some discernment and some modicum of wisdom. It's just propaganda. Some people clearly want to justify certain actions of the past and whitewash. I still maintain that when our presidential jet is in good condition, in pristine condition, let me use the word which has become very famous. People speak as though I created that word. When our presidential jet is in pristine condition, it is not right to be chartering £18,000, $20,000 an hour charter jet. We come into public office to protect the purse and to do our best to be measured and to be frugal. Everything I stood for, I still stand for that. And I still maintain that Ghana needs a presidential travel policy. Are you aware, ladies and gentlemen, that in the United States of America, when the president uses the presidential jet for private business, maybe fundraising for his campaign or for campaign activity, he is made to reimburse the American taxpayer. These are rich countries, superpowers. We go to borrow from them. But they have a presidential travel policy to protect the public purse. And some of us advocated for that. And because of that, we've become enemies to some. But these are principles I hold dear. And I know that I'll be vindicated with time. Indeed, I have a private member's bill in Parliament advocating for a private member's law which will regulate presidential travels and make sure that these things are not left to the discretion and pleasure, personal idiosyncrasies of whoever is president. And so these things are not targeted at any specific person. For example, I've heard some people say that I must have something personal against the former president. I don't.
Yaguswa ejina oswafo shamba no ne ensem so ehwo nakache honorable Samuel Kujeto Ablakwa na sabri wode atudwa se nei ye share China fo a wo mo visa abepim wo man Ghana mu a enhyehyɛ ye wo honom no ade asabro mu di bia ka ho ayiri mu kete pa na wo se ni nyina wo mo sa enhyehyɛ kete no wo mo ni kyerɛ wo mo a wo mo ebe illegal mining ombetu galamsey no wo mu titiri unti ena omde sa emra no aba Honorable Samuel Kujeto Ablakwa edi nsemi etu dwa wabra na wo kyerɛkyerɛ nsemu ewo government accountability series no ewo mampanyini atenabe ɛhɔ ena odi etu dwa sase wotu wɔn ho omunyina esi wonom se nei wo bɛhwɛ ama wo mo fa kwambɔne so etu efom agudie no wotu wɔn so sa ama saa ne mani nyina ase etu efri ɛhɔ nom na mmom ayonkofa ɛda oman Ghana ene China for entem no nso de ne papa so ai no de wo ho no ma wayiri mu ye ne yie yo enso emu Honorable Samuel Kujeto Ablakwa esan de to ho no se nei oto ne nsa frɛ eye obi bia se wo China ohimfa wo se bra na fa wusika ebe hye enwuma wo Ghana mu se de ebe ya yesika sem no eni betimi adane akɔ enimu wo ne papa so na mmom se wo ba betu efom agudie de a wo ne kwambɔne so de a enya de se obepene de ama obi bia.
We have very great relations with China, and to be fair to the Chinese, a lot of them are doing good business. They are investing in transformative projects. There is no official China government policy to come and destroy our environment, and they have made clear anytime we have engaged with officials in Beijing, they have been supporting us to get rid of their nationals who come in. And as you do know, we have been cracking down, arresting them, prosecuting them. And we will continue with the arrests and prosecutions. I can confirm to you that as part of my recent visit to China, I went to the state where they are notorious for sending their nationals here to engage in Galamsey. I met with the governor, the city authorities, and Director Asia is here. He can confirm that in that meeting, I did not mince words at all. I really stated President Mahama's position that this cannot continue. We welcome good investors to come partner with us and transform our economy, but we will not accept you sending your nationals here to engage in Galamsey. And we made that very clear to the city authorities. What we have also done subsequently following that meeting is that we have a new policy now at our embassy in Beijing and our consulate in Guangzhou, where we no longer process group visa applications. That's the new policy. Everybody must show up for an interview, and no matter if you claim you are coming for a conference, an excursion, whatever, you must all produce yourselves individually and apply individually. So there's a strict directive that no more group processing of visas.
Penya no ene da ekwe from coalition against Galamsey era Dr. Kenneth Ashigbe ene wakasa che Ghana man penyi se onhwe no fa tabono ento Galamsey eso penyi kase nyina mu se isi ade o se Galamsey na jinsemu okobe bia yetu efamagudi a yemfa mra kwanso edi sa adwuma na esensase ene nkwaye na sa ade a osusu se Ghana man penyi enye no so oye na ejina yi a ebetimi aboa ama ye kwaye ne yensu yetimi aboho eban.
The following demands of government in response to the president's statement on deploying a state of emergency as last resort. 1. By Article 31(9)(a) and (b), the circumstances under which a state of emergency may be declared include the current Galamsey situation, in which the actions being taken by the environmental criminals are calculated to deprive large communities of potable water, which is an essential of life. It also renders necessary the taking of measures which are required for securing the public safety, the defense of Ghana, and the maintenance of public order and of supplies and essentials to the life of the community. This text I have written did not come from anywhere. We are paraphrasing actually a constitutional provision. We are beyond the last resort. And His Excellency, Mr. President, please, you should immediately declare a state of emergency. And again, we are very clear about it. In parts of the country, not in all of the country, not in the entire district, but in parts of the country that are required to save Ghanaians as prescribed by the Constitution. A constitution you have agreed to uphold. The president must provide the nation with milestones and timelines to serve as a guide for continued action and demonstration of the government's commitment.
Area this mama ya dai hu tia wadi abo fon kratwe. Adishimama ya mama kwaba yetu akasiye no eso. Accra Circuit Court sabre ya yekasei wa Mabuno Regional Chairman Emma New Patriotic Party ye Kwame Bafo Abronye 50,000 Ghana cedis with one surety bill. Na court ashene se nyame ya domwa ye wukwade bia wonfa ne ho enkochira posifo. Na ye Kwame Bafo Abronye ni lawyer ni ye lawyer Daniel Mate Ado Ekasai say no chim.
The 10 date was here at the back court, the 19th of September 2025. However, me and a lawyer, no mean information, sir, the client and the BP, BP Costro, and the idea, until my back court, at the Jantua, the bread court, at the catch court, and the Panacho, in himself the case, and Ashifiada, or my opinion, and then if I appear before, young fire, year 7 years, Timra Pansono, your file, your motion for being any of the two. And then when I'm in charge of my Lord Akumaso, Emma, Regina Murano, and then Casano, then yet the actual return data there was say at the back court. The actual return data is a while back is the 19th, and Intina, about a young family client and I back court. We don't know, dear. I mean, we are pretty mean as a practice. I wouldn't say normal. At times, to meet me up at court, I'll have to Sabi Lama client. I am finding it. And Rano judge in the table to December 29, I'm passing. No, she knew who say. I mean, you can pass why not? Other granted. See, I'm running my own client. So, last nearby, I'm reading charges. And I say, I'm going to quit with the bomb client. I'm going to quit with the bomb client. And I'm real with my friend. Viva Voke bail application. And see, I don't know. Jina court, your name and I had the two court and say yes, on my bill. It's no young shut down from book cratters. And the court, I'm my bill, no sada now, can't say the client and for 3 million and Emran. And Rapasso, oh, I say, bet me, as I did here, what can and I know the book cratters. Now the idea, the 2 million. This is your kind, your own, I say, the high court. I'm running to see who find. So wait me repeat Sabi application or judge because circumstances na assessment. This is dynamic. Say and as any BPI a cost or special diet. A honor unyas ebianini or no angasa so I mean because unyas ebianini or starving. And see I was say a pepaya bit me as a judge near the big cratters. Tianona ya ba I'm in charge.
Trade Union Congress and after Ghana Employers Association and then Amafre in Central for Inshemu and they are to aban enim say aban enhwe na afi enhyehyea oye ene ne oma oye e de aboa ama Ghana na adwumayefo empunto etimi akonkan no onhwe no fa adwumayefo embom policies bi obebia ontwe adwumayefo emrem said a bear a bit me aboa na nsusu ya aban wo no omansu etimi e de aye adwuma ama Ghana etimi etumpon na fe sikasem nso no etimi akonkan
say na yeshemu ha asam papa ene asam de labor ene employees na yake ho abom say be de na man etumpon de be ya kan bibia na productivity ye be den na afon ya na fam de na labor fly na fam de na productivity na ehwe no yensa aka enu ntini ene Ghana Employees Association yeshia ma ewie ade ya yeshie di nkoma ntinde na ye communicate person to abonti mo bia hu se Ghana Employees Association ne Ghana TUC no ye ntafo a ye dwen oman impuntu ho ye said I said master servant bi na mo me nyina de kan adwen bom se adwumawura ye na fam de na adwumayefo so ye oman fam de a ye ba achieve ni ye pe ewo oman mu na man so etumpo ye pese ye say so na de ye twen aben avin gina so say ono so wo no bebre a say oye na oboy metumi achieve productivity no and say aban asudie ne say mama akwanpa o mama light gina so amen o mama insure o mama ekwan a ye ba fa so factory na say because of am baby a e fa raw materials so aban tumi asa no me na na say emre na bo adwuma ya ho ban your friend labor law no otumi mmiem ema ohyemekina ema rigina ye a emre ye adwuma hina bekoso that productivity na ye hwe no so yensaka enunti na employers ni union abom na ewie ye ka yebo the road otisa timebo the road say let us wear what we produce in Ghana here and let us eat
Ghana's productivity potential is vast, but its realization depends on shared responsibility and coordinated action. As leading voices of employers and workers, GNTUC Ghana stand ready to partner with government, development partners, and stakeholders to ensure that productivity gains translate into decent work, enterprise growth, and inclusive social national development so that no one is left behind.
GPRTU ene adrobafo enkabumuku ahodo no sabre o mafre ensemtwofo nhyiemu ede ato wo manim se nyame ya domo a efiri ochene kɔ wo mu do munwuma nyina egu fom na nyade se wo mu ebeye adwuma echese wo mu strike wo mu hyase nyame ya domo a ochena eye 16th September 2025 ni nyina ene se CMB omo lorry park ehonomo eno omo park wo mahyen elodi ekoba eno ewo Central Business District na chese Accra bepie mu Accra ba bi adwadie ekoso pa no private developer bi etu omo efi honomo se wo mo enkope ba before eno omo so omo ti ase enye yinti nyame ya domo a wo mo de petition ekwa His Excellency John Dramani Mahama Ghana mampanyini omakruchi omunsem a ene wo mo bo a enwusu nyina agumo mo de kwakoma mampanyini se wonka bi mom na mom ochena de wo mo strike.
It's about the CMB Lorry Park. It's been in existence for so many ages now. We've been working serving the nation throughout the 16 regions. For some time now, some businessmen have invaded the lorry park. Most of the portion has been taken away from us. We try to manage the little that is left with us. Yet another businessman have come up to take the remaining from us, and we are just pleading with the government to please help us the situation in which we are now. Tomorrow, God willing, if we are all safe, we will embark on a strike and present petition to the president.
Echina nyame ya adoma ye nyina ye machi e de akọ eye omampani aso ye de petition e de kwakoma omampani na emom no de ye no drivers are apply omunyina ye adwuma omom free Cape Coast e ba CMB omom free Kumasi ba CMB omom free Bolga ne de keka aka unyina no obia de nation AC ho private investors age eye CMB station aboso
and wo fa Accra Central yenya ba bi nyina nti ama ye nuamo abambofo kra na bi adane Bukmana omo cheche ba bi adravafo be gina nti ye frame na eye ni bresem
no omaba no omde kotoda no omde yigina ha twe ha saa wo be wan no omakukuru dan no omde asi wo no omap
terminal fine one driver for ebibe lodu osoro ebibe lodu ofom say that driver for kwa ho ne lodu say kwa ho ne lodu ye betum de 24 hours ana am say ye nkwa obi nkọ no waba na say na ba bi lodu wo betona ma abrempamfo wo betona ma wo ma bibi won nsem na yen ya ye de asom enipa yes see 24 hours economy no mesi more than 1 mile Accra Central ni yentimi nya adwuma na mom se obi baje pie o kire obi anko adwuma oh boy yeah oh boy yeah adaba for cho boy yeah
Usafo aha na de kasebo ni bese ma memfasida emma Pepsodent and Melba Paul say Pepsodent na make camfo e de amount Pepsodent ya pose papa o de Paul say emma o say apai say fita o say chinso nam ebeye den ngomofra de wom sanso na mpanifo de wom and Melba Paul say Pepsodent sanso na nopa o pese o Paul say no wanum ehwama Pepsodent na make camfo e de amount
Mamefasida emma Blazers GH o de she me atade obepie mu e wa shalebutwe a mpaso fa wontade wonsem nyina ekodan office na wokọ eye program bi na wokọ places GH ɛwɔ hɔ nom ɛde ma frɛ no ɛwɔ 0242 6751 hyɛ ɛniti